Hello guys, welcome back again to the Trickway with myself, Trainspotting Trev, and Mr. Grey Gamer 25. Grey's helping us out recording on his end instead of my end because of technical issues. I hate OBS and Discord with a passion. I'm sure you might share that pain. So thank you, Grey. Your present's in the post to you, literally.
There's always something going on. If it isn't Discord, it's Windows. If it's not Windows, it's OBS. If it's not OBS, it's our fingers.
So what's your advice, Grey? What did you say to me before to alleviate these issues going forwards?
Go XLR.
Well, that as well. Take screenshots of all your
screenshots. Yes, I do that all the time. I ever since I've done that, now that I never make mistakes with that stuff. I just look at it and go, because you can't remember all the time. You don't do it that.
Yeah,
often, you know?
and Windows updates always muck sound up. Always,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, thank you, Grey. It means we can get this episode out so I can change my tech setup for recording because this is no good. So yes, we are getting there slowly but surely with Star Trek Lower Decks. This is still season 4, episode 6 today, and the title, unless Grey, you can shed any light on this, Parth Ferengi's Heart Place. I don't know what Parth means. They don't tell you in the episode, I don't think.
I think Parth means like forgive, kind of like forgive.
So it's not a Ferengi word, it's actual real word.
Yeah.
Huh, I never heard that. There you go, you've learned something.
They get so complicated with the titles, though. This is Lower Decks. It's funny. They should just call it something goofy.
Funny titles, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, why not? The whole show is funny. They should just go Ferengi's Dilemma. I don't know, something funnier. The
Ferengis are at it again. That's what I would have titled that one.
That's like the last episode we did or whatever. Empathological, come on.
Empathical. Yeah, they made up a word. It's not a word. Empath. And yeah, I can't.
Empathological.
I'm tired already, man. But yeah, okay. We'll kick off here. This was a decent episode, not the best of the season, and we'll get to obviously the scores at the end.
Yeah, I think it's more of the typical
guest stars
kind of episode, I guess.
Yeah, and do you want to know something? I'm not going to say it yet, but the guest stars maybe stopped it being a 6.5 or a 6, because that's when you get to who they are, they're kind of famous. So, so yes, of course, as the title gives away, it is Ferengi-centric episode, and I like the Ferengi. They are the schemers, the dodgy, backhanded species of the Alpha Quadrant. Mm-hmm. And I like to see them. And guess what turns up at the start of the episode? Not a Trekway mug, no. Although that would be cool if that did arrive instead of the random ship and bust up some other ships. Yes, the random ship does turn up at the start of this episode. It took a break last episode, if you remember, Grey. Yep. It showed up at the end. So it was a little bit strange that it does arrive at the start. We do start on a Ferengi cruiser, I think it was.
Yeah.
And they're talking amongst themselves in their scheming kind of ways. They're talking about going straight, which I found hilarious. They're changed. They're not schemers anymore, man.
That's a bad word for Ferengi.
Exactly. It's a very bad word for Ferengi. And they're you see them playing about with a portable Genesis device, because he was like, one Ferengi's knocking over. He's like, careful. That's the new portable Genesis device. I was like, what? So we've seen a Genesis 1 and 2, and then we've seen a mini version.
I was cracking up when they go portable. I figured if somebody would create a portable one, right?
I mean, the other one wasn't massive, to be fair, the size of a person.
But they're treating this like, hey, you just slip it in your pocket. It's so portable.
It's not a PlayStation Slim versus a PlayStation 4 or something. Do you know what I mean? It's I found that amusing. So don't knock that over, whatever you do. But it's too late. As they are talking about going straight, they do get smashed up by the new random ship. But the thing about this is the random ship going about smashing things. I think the Ferengi are in on this, because the guy, the navigation officer, is looking really shifty, and the captain can see that, and he calls him out, and he's like, sorry, I was trying to make a profit, it was a good deal and stuff, and then before you know it, the ship just takes it out. So are the Ferengi really to blame for all this? But you're a bit fed up about this whole thing in general, Gray. I love it as long as they pay it off well at the end. That's my hope.
I just got a feeling that they're building up so much with this thing that I'm not so sure that the payoff at the end is. In other words, the expectations of the payoff at the end are getting higher and higher and higher, and I just get worried that when we see it, we're going to be going like, huh? And the other thing that I think is getting a little bored of too is the fact that, well, okay, I get it's a comedy, I understand that, and you and I have talked about this before, but you're still talking about a ship that literally is wiping out ships very easily and just frying these people and vaporizing them. And you see them get vaporized every week.
Yeah.
And I'm going like, okay, so, it's a comedy though. So generally speaking, you don't see a lot of that in a comedy, or they kind of just, whatever, And this is getting to be like too much of a serious kind of part. And I'm going like, this is not really Lower Decks, So I don't, regardless of how the payoff comes, I don't agree with it. I really don't. And it's too much. 4 times is like...
It will happen every episode. There's one episode that's not happened in. Mm-hmm. But I think, I agree with you to some extent, Gray. What I think they have to do is build this up so much that when they do reveal it, it's something that we absolutely piss ourselves laughing over. And it has to be, they can't build it up to be a very serious, normal Trek thing because it's Lower Decks, it's a comedy. So it has to be something absolutely hilarious, like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the ship that keeps changing into random things, something hilarious where we both chuckle and we go, okay, that was funny.
If that's the case, though, why wouldn't they have done something like that each time the ship appeared? It would have been
it was an example. Don't take me for baiting.
No. I think you got a good idea. I think that's something that they should have done each time. When this weird ship shows up, it should be something funny, and then it blows away the ship or something like that. But yet it comes across as being very serious. And the other thing is, and again, I understand this is a comedy. I get it. But for all the stuff that's happened with the ship now that it's completely annihilated, 4 or 5 ships of all different races, you mean to tell me that this is not causing a large commotion at Starfleet? They don't even talk about it. They pretty much short shrift it and just, life as usual. Really? I mean,
has it blown up any Federation ships, or did it do one at the very start?
Yeah, I believe they did, if I remember correctly.
One at the very start, but apart from,
But despite that, the point is that Starfleet knows this stuff happens because, if it's happened this many times, then many of the races out there are all going to be going like, this is a problem, man. We need to talk about this, and we need to talk about it now. But they just ignore it. Oh, 5 ships get wiped out, 4 or 5 ships, everybody gets vaporized and dies, and we just, it's Lower Decks. That's the way it happens on this show. It just doesn't make sense.
This season hasn't been as funny as other seasons, so there is that fear that they do try to do an Orville on us and make it too serious, which Gray knows I complained about that. It's a great show, the Orville. It's just I loved the humour, and they should have kept the same level of humour season 1 all the way through all the seasons, well down the cool stuff as well. Mm-hmm. But they didn't. They got a lot more serious. So I hope this doesn't happen here, because we have grown to love the humour of this and accepted it. Even Gray has, and that's saying something. He's a very hard man to please. Yeah. Let's just wait. I agree with your points, Gray. We can't judge it until the end. We can't truly.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. So the Cerritos is at Ferengi in this episode. So I haven't been there for a while. Mm. And I found this interesting because the Ferengi are, the aim in this episode, they're looking to at least show interest in joining the Federation. And that's why the Cerritos is there. I'm so surprised the Cerritos is there for that, because in all due respect to the Cerritos, it knows its place. It's not the kind of job you normally give the Cerritos.
Yeah.
It's normally of a bigger ship and a bit, a more prestige crew. Not knocking them. That's just their place.
No, you're right. It does seem a wee bit out of place.
It does.
The only thing that maybe brings it back to Earth a little bit is that the admiral, I don't remember his name, of the other ship that talks about this agreement they're going to look at or whatever. He even says, "Oh, this is nothing. No one really cares about it. It's a one and done. La la la." So he makes very light of it. So I guess then that means, oh, okay, we'll let the Cerritos do this because who cares?
That's true. The Cerritos has been punching above its weight and doing really well recently. So maybe they deserve a bit of credit and they give them this job. And the thing is, in the future, now don't quote me on this unless you know for sure otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
In the future, in like say Star Trek Picard time, is Ferengi at that stage, or Ferengi are part of the Federation? If they're not,
I can remember. I'm pretty sure
they are at some point.
Yeah, I think there was talks about it in some episodes and stuff. So it has been spoken about. But I don't know if it actually. I don't think it actually ever happened. Obviously, because they're talking about it now.
Yes.
So I kind of I guess you kind of assume maybe it was because you see Quark everywhere and doing his thing, and Ferengi, so you don't really think about it. You think, oh, just part of the family. But I guess technically they weren't or aren't.
If it doesn't happen by Star Trek Picard era, then it certainly happens by Discovery in the 32nd century, whenever they are, because it definitely happens at some point. The Ferengi definitely do join the Federation. Yeah. I think it is later on after Picard, to be fair. And this is just initial. This is your application. It's a bit like joining the European Union or the UN, but a bit more the European Union. They show interest, but it doesn't happen for years. That's just your application in. Then they have to vet everything. So similar, same idea here. Yeah. Now, what I loved about this is we have a certain couple of special guest characters, which I'll let Gray introduce because they are voiced by the real life counterparts, and they are Rom and Leeta, aren't they, Gray?
Yep, Rom and Leeta. They popped in. I was listening to their voices because I was wondering if it was the actual actors, and because they've gotten older, so their voices could change a little bit. But as I started hearing it, I'm sitting there going, I think this is the right one. So I double checked, and yeah, sure enough, Max Grodenchik, who played Rom in DS9, came back for this episode and plays Rom again in his voice. And the girl, Leeta, was played by Chase Masterson in DS9, and she also came back to do this. Now, both of them in real life are more like 60 years old now because it's been a long time. But in the nice thing about animation is it kind of doesn't matter how old you are, you're using your voice. So that was kind of nice to see. It was kind of like, all right, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah. I did do. I was a big fan. I didn't recognize Leeta's voice as much because she's not in it as much, but I definitely recognize Rom because Rom has that kind of gormless. He sounds stupid.
Yeah, the goofy.
It's harsh, I know. Yeah, he sounds so. So imagine that actor having to put on the goofy voice again. He's just like, yes, I get to have a field day here. So it's nice to see them, especially Rom, because Rom feels part of the family, and of course Leeta. Chase, she was the
Dablo girl.
What did they call it? Dablo girl. Yeah, and not the Diablo girl. That's Diablo, something else.
Dabo.
The Dablo girl, and she's very pretty. That's all I'll say.
She could have made a good Diablo girl.
It's good to see them both back. Yes, I'll be. And this time. Rom is the new Grand Nagus, which is brilliant. He's got his staff and everything, man. Yes.
Yeah, I liked it. That was pretty funny.
It was a nice little touch, wasn't it? And the Rom and Leeta, they both come aboard the Cerritos with one of the admirals for the negotiations. The admiral's going to do most of the negotiating, but as we soon find out, Freeman's the one that's better at it. And you notice this, Gray. I didn't notice this when they're showing you Ferenginar. Some of the places, the clubs and bars and stuff. Yeah. I didn't notice this, but you did, didn't you?
Because I knew there was going to be something. So I actually froze the frame so I could read some of the stuff that was going by. I wish there was even more of it, but what there was pretty cool. There was one building that was called Uncle Quark's Youth Casino. And I'm going cracking up. So the kids go in there and gamble. Uncle Quark's Youth Casino. Then the hotel is called Loeb's Lodge because they're earlobes.
That's better. That's genius.
And then there's a library. You see the library in a scene where you see the outside says books, 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 books. The signs all say books, 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 books. And then you go inside. It's a casino, and the guy goes, "Yeah, we made a casino out of the library because nobody reads books anyway." I'm going like. I like that one. That was good too.
He's my kind of guy. I hate reading. He's my kind of guy.
Yep. It was great.
So, of course, the lower deckers, or the junior grades, as I'm now going to call them, I think, Gray,
Sure.
because they have moved on ever so slightly. They have jobs to do. Ransom has come down and get them some jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be travel guides, because I found this interesting. It's equivalent of Trip.com. Basically, you go to another place, or another planet in this case, and you leave reviews and stuff. And because all the reviews of all the cool places to go in Ferengi are well out of date, because probably not many people pay them a visit, they weren't part of the Federation, they're a bit shifty, it's all out of date, so they need up-to-date stuff. So they all have tasks to go to certain places, different things, and review them and update it for the Federation database. Makes sense.
Or maybe it's the Yelp in the 24th century or something. Or
Yelp as well. Yeah. Give me 5 stars, please. Tendy and Rutherford have to pretend to be a couple for this, right? They want a married couple's perspective on stuff in Ferengi, because according to Commander Ransom, I quote, the Cerritos is the horniest and least committed ship in Starfleet. That is brilliant.
He says it all with a straight face too. Just kind of like, man, everybody knows that.
It was so funny. That was, and he's probably right. So they all have a right and a part. It's the party central of Starfleet, I think.
Yeah.
But no one's married there, or very few people are married, so they have to pretend to be a married couple. And I was like, oh, here we go. We're finally going to get a kiss. Are we going to get some movement of the relationship? I'm sure you were thinking the same thing,
yeah,
Gray. Finally, they hook up. It's a no-brainer.
Well, you and I kept on saying they should get a room, and so now they actually do.
No, well, yes, this is it, yeah. So Mariner, not being a stupid woman, turned round and said to Ransom, you look shifty, you set this up, this was all you. And he smiles, he turns around and he goes, why'd I do this? It's because I'm so nice and handsome. What a package. And he walks away. I love Ransom. He's so vain. The guy is so vain.
I'm surprised he doesn't rip his shirt off more often. You know how he does that once in a while? He rips his shirt off.
He's done that a couple of times before, and when he's done it, it's hilarious. And the thing is, he's what's the actor that plays him again?
Oh, okay.
It's up there. He is married to number one on Strange New World.
Yep. Rebecca Rahman. Yep.
There you go.
I didn't know that until I found out later. You're right. I was like, oh.
And the thing is, the actor that plays it's annoying. It's up there. He's semi-famous. Anyway, the marriage wildness between Tendy and Rutherford is getting a bit much for them because I don't know. I think they think it's going to be par for the course, Gray, and they'll just carry on being their normal, goofy, silly selves. But you reckon they're such a cute and goofy couple, maybe they can pull it off?
Well, I was thinking
be themselves.
Right. I think it was something that maybe would kindle something, since they obviously like each other. But as we see, they're acting more embarrassed about everything because I guess it's not coming naturally to them, so they're getting all embarrassed about it.
Yeah, I feel a bit sorry for them, but I do notice a random thing on Ferengi. There's a museum of bribery, which I thought was brilliant. Of course there is. They are the masters at this. Mariner the whole time, she's not reviewing anything. She's not doing the review stuff. She's it's Tendy and Rutherford and Boimler, as we get to in a moment. He's doing reviews of stuff as well, or he's supposed to be. Mariner is actually meeting up with her friends because I guess they'll get some shore leave when they're there.
Mm-hmm.
She is sitting there with her Ferengi friend, knocking back shots, and to which her friend was like, really? It's 10 a.m. She's like, oh, 2 shots, better make that 3. Wow. I don't touch shots, but that is hilarious. A triple shot and she had it was 10 a.m.
Yeah, it was funny because he goes like, she's going for a double, and her friend there says, but it's only 10 a.m. in the morning. Oh, well, then I better make it a triple. I'm going like, what? What are you talking about? I know we know something funny too. If you realize that over certain episodes of Lower Decks, whenever they go somewhere, Mariner seems to have a friend, like in all these places. It's like, oh, my friend, da da da, or she goes somewhere else, and my friend, da da da. And then all of a sudden, she has a friend Ferengi, and I'm like, okay.
It's a very good point, Gray. She is a very important person. What can I say?
She's a
very sociable,
social butterfly, as they call her.
She certainly is. I mean, she's that kind of person. You love to hate her, you hate to love her. Back on the Cerritos, Rom and Leeta are up to no good. It's just looking a bit shifty with them. I'm noticing that pretty early on myself. Rom is being thick, but more thick than usual thick.
Yeah.
You know, because he isn't the brightest spark. In some aspects, he's a brilliant engineer, but in kind of life stuff, he's not the brightest spark. And he's been a bit more dumb than usual. He's talking about baseball. He's obsessed with baseball. That's a Cisco thing. You know, he was close to Cisco. He's got a baseball in his hand. He keeps talking about it, throwing it up and chucking it, and he chucks it, and he smashes one of the L-car control panels, just busts it up. I hope he's getting billed for that, Gray. The Grand Negus bill, man, he's rich.
One side note about this that I thought was kind of interesting is the actor, Max Grodnick, that plays Rom, was a semi-professional baseball player. And a decision came in his life where he would either go to be a fully professional baseball player or an actor. And he chose to do acting. So he slipped some of his love of baseball into the episode, obviously. You know,
I am so glad. I'm so glad he decided to be an actor. Apologies if you hear a siren, people.
That's Rom going down the that's true.
I didn't know that about the actor. That is pretty interesting. I'm glad he chose acting because I do love the character of Rom. Okay. So Rom wants to... So Leeta goes up and has a word with Admiral and has, whispers in his ear just, he wants to feel a bit important. So could you maybe move around a couple of numbers on the contract, a few pages, just to make him feel like he's doing something, he's contributing because he's not the brightest spark. And Admiral's like, okay,
that makes
sure,
sense.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, sure, whatever. He wants an easy life. And again, Rom and Leeta are looking shifty at this stage. So we know they're up to something.
Yep.
Now, Boimler is the highlight of this bloody episode for me because at the end when I get to that, I laughed out loud. It was just hilarious. Boimler is supposed to be checking out hotels and bars. He gets the cool job out of all of them, I think. And he does say to Ransom before, Gray, that he was excited about this proposition, and Ransom's like, just, take it easy, go and have a bit of fun. And he's like, no, I can't. I'm Lieutenant Junior grade. I've got examples to set. And he's a bit freaked out by this. Anyone else would love it. You or I would love it. He's like, oh, God, I'm going to have to start preparing now. He leaves straight away, goes down to Ferenginar. But as he's about to leave, he's in one of his first hotels. As he's about to leave and start doing his reviews, he catches something on the TV. And he starts getting hooked on a Ferengi cop show.
He's like, these are like Ferengi reality shows and other stuff. And he's like,
like romantic TV show. I mean, he's like, maybe I'll just watch it. And he starts to line things in his pad. The Ferengi cop show was so tongue-in-cheek and so cheesy and so silly. It was amusing, though. And it only gets worse. Right, so that's the thing.
They keep cutting back to Boimler every so often, and he's like getting more and more sucked into all this stuff. And you hear the Ferengi actors sitting there going like, well, if I had to be cheated on by somebody, I was glad it was you. They'll go like typical Ferengi.
Very cheesy. Very cheesy. Yeah, because cheating, that's a very good point. Things are heating up even more now between Tendi and Rutherford. It's moving up the gears as they have to dress up for a photo op. They both dress up. They both come out. They both look stunning, immaculate. Tendy's in his black dress. She looks hot. Rutherford looks sharp and dapper, very handsome. And they both look at each other like, wow, you look good. You look good. Wow. And they scrub up nicely. Great, I thought.
They were getting embarrassed at things that they were saying to each other, and Tendy's turning red over the green.
they certainly they're so adorable and so goofy. Mariner, meanwhile, is getting smashed. Like she's getting pissed. She plays a really good drunk.
Yeah,
that actress plays she does it so well. She's wearing a beer. What did they call that? It's an American
beer hat. It's a beer hat.
Beer hat. So like the two cans there attached to the hat, the straws.
The straws. You can suck down 2 beers and
Have you ever had a shot one of them, Gray?
No. I've seen them, but I haven't done that.
Oh, mate, you haven't lived.
No, I have a little more class. I like to pour it in a cup or a glass,
He pours everything in a cup. Everything. He's obsessed.
Well, a beer mug is beer, but or a bottle because I like bottle.
Okay.
Enough about beer.
You got to try a beer hat. It's definitely worth the while. Mariner gets so smashed, in fact, so drunk that she actually gets involved in a fight, and it's out of nothing. Gray, this Ferengi, who's buff as hell, accidentally bumps into her, and she just starts going nuts. Even though you think this tough Ferengi is going to start having a go back, but he's the most polite, tough Ferengi you've ever met. He's just like, I'm very sorry, ma'am. Like, apologize. She's like, you will apologize. You will regret it. And she starts busting him up. A fight for nothing. Mariner's got some demons that we don't fully understand, Gray, that hopefully maybe one day we do. So she gets involved in a big bust up there. But now the next step with Tendi Rutherford, this was cool, this bit. I would like your opinion on it as well, Gray. They're now at Quark's Starfleet Experience and Grill. What a title, man. Brilliant, man. It's just everything's Quark.
This is the second time Quark's name comes up. The Youth Casino and now the Starfleet Experience. The dude's rolling in dough, man.
I say it at one point. I don't remember where I say it, but I'm kind of gutted that Armin Shimmerman never came back for this.
Yeah, I thought maybe he might.
Or he wasn't asked.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer. Like maybe they only had the budget for one or two other characters, and that was Rom and Leeta. So,
and they probably cost less too.
They probably do, yeah, because they were not regulars, unlike Quark. The Starfleet Experience and Grill. We do see some big versions of the Enterprise D and Voyager outside. I don't know if they were holograms or they were real. I think they were like real. They were big models.
It almost looked like they were models hanging from the roof or something. But
yeah, I think they were, because the holograms got that kind of unique effect. So it was Enterprise D and Voyager with a bit of TNG music. I love that.
Yeah,
Gray did cool as well, by the looks of it.
By the way, to interrupt for a second, I think it's also a parody on a thing that was called the Star Trek Experience, which was an event in Las Vegas, and they also had it here at Universal in Florida for a short while. So it's got to be a little rib to that one, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think if I haven't discussed it with you before, Gray, I was watching reviews about that a few weeks ago, and I was gutted that I missed out on that because it was supposed to be phenomenal, especially the Borg experience they had. It just looked fantastic. For any of you guys that have ever been to it, I'm so jealous. Gray's not been to it.
No, well, I did do the Star Trek Experience at Universal.
Did you?
Many years ago. Now, I heard it was fun, but I heard it was better in Vegas because it was a little bigger and a little longer. So they brought I don't know if you want to call it a smaller version, over to Universal somewhere, and I have not found it. I have a VHS tape of me doing it, because they tape you. I can't find the dang tape. Now, eventually, when I do find it, I'll let you know. But it's somewhere. And it was fun. What it was is you went in, and they have different people playing the parts of like
they were actors. They were actors.
Well, these are junior actors, like young.
And the original, no, they are actors. They're just not grade A Hollywood. They are acting, mate. They are paid to act.
Yeah, no, I agree. But these are let's say it for real. These are younger people that are just would-be actors or want to be actors.
Yeah.
Anyway, they play their parts and stuff, and I'm the captain, so I'm taking Kirk's part. So there's a whole kind of a scripted thing going on. And you basically say this or say that.
So you're one of the characters. I thought could you do that? I thought you were just one of the people
No, I was the captain. They let you choose, though. You didn't have to be the captain. You could have picked one of the other stations.
Am I demoted in my own show? Damn.
But the thing is, when you look back at, if I remember correctly, it was a lot of fun. But I wish I had done it a second time, because the first time I did it, I was like nervous because I didn't know what exactly I should do or not do. So the performance, if you want to call it that, could have been better if I did it a second time, but I never did. But it was cool. It was cool.
Hey, and if those that want to know what a VHS tape is, ask your parents. I know it's a sidetrack, but it's a really important one. I'm glad you shared that, Gray, because that is probably what it's set on, and that's a very memorable thing for you. I'm jealous I never got to do it myself. The original plan was on the strip, on the Las Vegas Strip, they were going to, and it got pretty far along, they were going to build a replica of the Enterprise. Now, of course, not the exact size, because, Jesus Christ, can you imagine how many billions and trillions of dollars that would be? But it was probably about half the size, I would guesstimate, of the real thing, which would have been huge on the Strip, and it was going to turn it into a hotel, an experience. And I was like, oh my God, I would have given you a testicle, a kidney, a lung, an eyeball, one of everything to go to that. Can you imagine, Greg? Oh, I'm moving in.
There has been stories and articles throughout years that there was always some group that was going to build an actual scale size. Never ended up happening. But can you imagine it? Like you said, how much it would cost? Jeez.
It's the amount of money, the sheer amount of money, and the structural integrity. And that's not a pun. Genuinely, starships are not designed to be on planets for very good reason. And that's with futuristic metals and alloys that don't exist. We've only got so much alloys and technology. So the thing would bloody collapse, and it would have struts and stuff under it. And it's a pipe dream. It's brilliant. But go and watch this stuff on YouTube. Highly recommend it. So sorry, I know we went on a tangent, but it was a very cool one, I thought. So back at the Experience and Grill, Tendy and Rutherford are having some food. And what I found amusing is, right, this is a little thing I picked up, Gray, is this happens a couple of times in the episode where someone eats something or does something, then throws away the leftovers of the content, and it ends up hitting someone in the head, and you just hear this, hey, the person gets wild.
Hey, ow, or something, They never explain it, they just go on.
No, you don't explain it. That's right. the hilarity of it. So someone's been walloped in the head twice in this. So what they have to do after their food is Tendy and Rutherford have two sexy chocolate statues of one another. Tendy's got one of Rutherford's got one of Tendy, and they look cool, kind of like sexy poses they're pulling. Yeah. And they have to eat a bit of the chocolate of the person of the opposite, and then describe, like, say they eat their head, they have to describe something cool about them, like they've got a pretty head, or your eyes look great, or something like that. And you could just see them squirming, Gray, just like, this is really uncomfortable for them, and it's hilarious at the same time. So eat something, compliment, something nice, move on. The caveat is the chairs they're sitting on can tell if they're lying.
Right.
So that when they really start feeling the heat under the collar, now they managed to pass it.
They don't want to lie because bad things might happen. So
100% bad things will happen to them. They pass it though, the line test, if you like. They managed to scrape past, but it's then going up another gear, Gray. So they now have to consummate the marriage, to which they both freak out, like, oh no, what now?
And they said they have to do it right here. So they sit there and go like, what? And then what I thought was funny, the next part, he goes like, well, we're not going to watch you. And then all of a sudden he rolls this room out and he says, but we are going to listen to you.
Like, that's the room.
Yeah. It was great.
That was the room Gray was talking about there. It did come in. It's literally a portable consummation room, if you like. It's very random but funny at the same time. Yeah. However, as this is happening, talking about randomness, Gray, the bird counselor walks in, Miglimu, right? Because I actually decided to put his name in because he's appearing a little bit more in this than he used to.
Yeah.
So Miglimu walks in and is greeted by a Ferengi and a Starfleet costume and Vulcan eyebrows. He's dressed up as a Vulcan, which was hilarious. These eyebrows were, they went like this and then right up like this. They're massively exaggerated.
Like exactly. They're trying to do it right and they're not quite getting it. Funny.
It's just random. I found that amusing. And Migley almost screws them over when he actually says that they're friends, to which Tendi acts really quickly to turn it around, because the Ferengi are automatically suspicious. And friends? No, we can't have this. But she quickly turns it around, and she starts accusing Migley of being jealous that she actually loves Migley instead. You were, I guess, credit where credit's due, Gray. You mentioned here it was quick thinking by Tendi, because I would have made an arse of that if that happened to me. Done a good job. They
had to do something, because there was a scene before where somebody was acting like they're a couple, and they found out that they weren't, and they take the couple, arrest them, and put them on some planet digging, mining stuff, because as their punishment. And they're like, oh boy.
I don't see. It's funny that they do that, but I don't see why they do that, because they're all schemers and liars anyway, the Ferengis, so they should be complimented on it. So it's a kind of bit of a
right?
hypocritical thing to do and say, but hey-ho, it's not breaking episode. It
must have been one of those laws of acquisition, because they scalped them for money, I guess. So,
and all the top captains in Starfleet know at least some of the rules of acquisition, because it's got them out of jam before.
Yeah,
and including this episode as well, which we get to at the end. The bartender offers Migley the homewrecker package, which I thought was bloody hilarious, because what he's just done. to which he replies, "You don't have to throw up in my mouth twice." Bear in mind, he's a bird in the last episode with Replicator, and I want it to taste like my mother vomited in my mouth, which was just
and they play on the same joke, but ramp it up for the very next episode. Yeah,
that's smart comedy. I like that. That's fine.
Yeah.
Back on the Cerritos, Leeta and Rom are still deep into the negotiations, a lot deeper than they should be for this. And they're 100% pulling a fast one on the Admiral, big time, Gray. They're asking random things of the Admiral. In fact, it's back on Ferenginar, my apologies. They asked the Admiral to dance for them, just for no random reason. He wants to sign it, so he starts dancing. I'm like, what?
They already have the Admiral spinning all around because of all the stuff that they're doing. And then they ask him to dance, and he actually starts to do it. So you see him dancing around like, oh boy. And it was great, because you see Freeman getting really embarrassed, going like, oh boy.
Yes, but Freeman to the rescue, Gray. She actually comes round and says, listen, she will throw in 5 million bars of gold-pressed latinum if they can induct a planet into the Federation, and they think this is really, really easy to the point where they're going to sign up to it, until she says, read the small print, because they have to read the small print. As Leeta says, reading the small print's important. It's rule such and such. It can lead to greater wealth or something like that. Yeah. So these rules run into rules, and God, it gets confusing. And the small print is, yes, they have to induct a planet, but it happens to be Kronos. They click on all planet and they freak out, like, what? That's impossible. And she went, I know. She's pulling. You can't take Freeman for a mug. She's a very smart lady, a lot smarter than the bloody Admiral is.
Yep.
The Admiral at this point, Gray's kind of stepping back a little bit and not being as in the limelight as he once was, because he knows that he's shit at this. So she's a lot better. She's got them exactly where she wants them. Freeman to the rescue. And to be honest with you, Rom just at the end goes, listen, we'll sign it. The reason we done all this, I found this cool. This was pretty smart, this end part here.
Yeah.
The only reason they're doing it is because a lot of people in the galaxy, and the Federation especially, don't take the Ferengi seriously, for good reason, I think.
Sure.
And they just want a bit of respect shown for their culture. And that's the only reason they were doing this. And the fact that Freeman was countering them and respecting their culture, they're like, okay, we'll sign up. And what I found amusing was when Rom signs it at the end, it looks like a 5-year-old has signed it, Greg. Did you know?
Yeah. Rom with funny looking shapes of
Rom.
letters. Just said Rom.
Different sizes, and yeah, that was amusing. So that was amusing. But to finish off the episode, this was bloody brilliant. Boimler cracks me up. Mr. Quaid, you do a good job. I'd almost forgotten about Boimler. In fact, I had at this stage initially.
Yeah.
We go back to him. Ransom's trying to get him on the comms. I don't know why I'd done that. It's not that kind of telephone. He's sitting in his underwear with his eyes almost coming out of his head because he's been watching.
They're all bloodshot and everything, and he's like,
he's been watching 8 straight hours of Ferengi TV. Got the munchies beside him and everything. And he's really apologetic and he feels guilty to Ransom. He's like, I'm really, really sorry, Commander. And Ransom's like, hey, it's fine. I'm proud of you, man. Anyone that can watch 8 straight hours of Ferengi TV deserves respect. But don't worry, I will send the local authorities to come in and get you. And they do. They come in and drag him out, kicking and screaming, torturing him like stun batons and everything. You can just see them scream.
What was funnier just before that, though, is Ransom said, listen, just go limp and don't do anything. It'll be much easier for you. And when he said that, you see them barge in there and they're taking him away. And what does he do? The complete opposite. He screams.
And every time Boimler screams, it cracks me up because Jack Quaid has him down to a T. He can scream like a little girl with the best of them. So that was a music way to end the episode. And the end, basically. Gray, what did you give this out of 10 and why?
I went with 7 out of 10 because I thought it was a fun episode. I liked the throwbacks and stuff and the funny names of all the casinos and whatnot, and seeing the actual funny side of the Ferengis and stuff. So, you know, I'm not gonna go much higher than that. Because I like the guest stars. You know, with Rom and Leeta coming back was really cool. I don't think I would go much further because basically it's not a stellar episode, but it's good. It's there. It's what I expect them to do. In other words, the level of levity, shall we say, is about that's what you should be seeing.
Yeah.
If you get anything lower than 7, then something's wrong, with the episode.
That should be the minimum, I think. I've got high standards for Star Trek, so not very good, great. Actually, I'm being cheeky here. I sometimes do this. 7.5 out of 10. I was given 7 out of 10. The reason for the half-point upgrade is Rom and Leeta are back, especially Rom. And I loved Rom in it. He was the goofy, gormless character that you just loved to hate or hate to love. He was really cool. It was great to see that couple back. It was decent. It was a very average, decent episode. It wasn't anything spectacular. It had its funny moments, but not as funny as it has been. So that's why the episode before was funnier. Yeah. I was just a bit sad they couldn't get Armin Shimmerman back, but again, it would have probably cost too much, so fair play. That would have bumped it up to an 8 just because he's Ferengi royalty. So, and I like the Ferengi. They are dodgy and shifty as hell. I can relate to that. So, yeah, decent episode. But before we go, of course, don't forget that we are on audio podcast platforms as well as YouTube. So Craig doesn't know this, but my Podbean renewal ran out and I decided not to go with them. So I went to Acast, who are completely free, and the audio podcast will continue because it goes out. YouTube has audio podcast platforms as well, or a podcast platform. And wherever you heard it before, you should still be able to hear it again. So that should carry on as normal. Please don't forget that we're on Twitter at the Trekway as well. And we're doing a new GGR episode in the next couple of weeks for sure. With Gray, he leads that one. We join them. Entertainment focused. So please, if you haven't subscribed to that, please do, because you'll get an episode notification soon. We'll be talking about the latest TV shows and movies and the Hollywood strikes that are going on partially and have been completed. You can find him on all the usual platforms and YouTubes and podcasting platforms, and GGR, Gray's Green Room, on Twitter. And last but not least, don't forget Gaming Podcast. Our colleague and friend Nick Gray and I, we do a gaming podcast at Extreme PC UK. You can look for the Discord in there, and we chat in there about Star Trek and entertainment stuff as well. So please come and say hi if you don't mind.
Join the Discord.
Join the Discord, please. But until next week, thank you everyone for tuning in, and Gray for helping us out here. And do your thing, Mr. Gray.
Live long and prosper, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.